to make noise not be completely alienating, again, it needs to like move and be somehow dynamic. And so no matter how dissonant, like there needs to be a lot going on to make something not totally alienating or off-putting. So it is noisy, but there's a lot going on.
The sound design gives way to this low pedal of cello and bass octave in each other, and that is the opening to the piece Daedalus Requiem. The pedals come in this sort of like lamenting, plodding, someone called it Pachelbelian. And yeah, and they build the context, which for me at the beginning of the composition, before you worked on it, it was very much like a funeral march. And then this melody comes in on the viola, and the context for that melody is the shape of the melody is actually inspired by the song "Carry On My Wayward Son" by Kansas. And there's a verse of that song which is actually on my dad's tombstone. But of course, like my shape, my recapitulation of it, or my reinterpretation of it, is much more tragic. It's like a much more sad version of this like fairly joyous melody. And then what happens is it's joined by a violin, which is playing the direct inversion of that melody. And so that's just like a pretty standard compositional technique, but for me it was like creatively remarkable at that point because it represents like a crossing over. And so as Daedalus has drowned and his like spirit begins to lift away with his viola, then it crosses over somewhere, and so then the inversion joins the viola and the violin playing. And then they play for a couple bars, and then they're joined by a third violin voice, which I would just call like the soaring voice, or anyway, and the violin one comes in and just starts singing like over top of it. And so that's sort of the structure of the composition of the track. And then when I originally delivered it to you, it kind of existed that way as like a parabola. So as the song went on, I dropped out the low strings, and then I dropped out the viola, and then I dropped it. And then that was the second time I referred to earlier, these times that you added a different axis of expression for my intention. So I had this rising away, this like being represented literally by the register of the strings, by the increasing frequency. And then when I talked to you about like death fading into the light at the end of the tunnel, this sort of like narrative thing that has happened, you took it and you created this automation on the strings, which to me just like, yeah.
So what I did, it ended up being one of the most complicated sessions I've probably ever made.
It broke your computer.
It broke I think it probably did literally break my computer. Like I had to get a new computer shortly thereafter. I don't know if it was because of this piece, but it was the most complicated session I've probably ever made. Without getting too deeply into it, like each track is linked to a group, which is linked to another group. I made this sort of web of all these tracks being interlinked in various modular ways, and what would happen as the piece progressed is that it would kind of degrade. So I would be filtering out individual voices one at a time while adding reverb, while actually like adding adding noise reduction plugins to different elements, and all of these different things would kind of interact in such a way where the track would kind of degrade in a sort of digital disintegration loops. Yes, and the effect is that this loop establishes and it never actually finishes. The kind of implication is that it just keeps on going forever and ever and ever, but you can kind of hear it fading away with the understanding that it's still happening, even though you can't hear it anymore. And yeah, I love that piece.
One of the last little audible gestures that comes out is this shape, melodic shape that just maps to the lyric of the original song, which is just like, "Lay your weary head to rest," which is like, to me, such like a beautiful like place to like leave that song, which is really just like mourning my dad and like saying goodbye, and like it's being like, go be at peace or whatever.